Hello, scratchers and coders, and welcome to today's challenge, which is a tennis ball machine. Even though I don't play tennis, I find it pretty fascinating to have a machine like this to be able to train, by yourself at your own time, at your own schedule. Now, these ball machines, they pop out. So these machines, they have a lot of control on the speed at which the ball pops out. So that is the basic minimum control right now we have here. But we would like you to add a lot more controls to this. For instance, it should be able to rotate so that it does throw ball at more specific areas. Actually the machine may not be able to do as much placement across this entire tennis court necessarily placed on in one location. It needs to be doing a little movement. I've not shown it here. I want you all to take up the challenge and extend it to make this much more interesting. So let's quickly jump into the code. I would also encourage you to start using paper, pen, and sit down as you're watching the challenge so that you can start listing down what are the elements and what are the things you would be using. This will really help you to start thinking a lot more. Let us look at the code. So the first thing is our ball popper, the machine. The ball machine really is not doing much here. It just needs to sit here for now. Only when you start giving it some rotation, etc., you'll be adding a lot more code. The bulk of the work is really in the tennis ball. So initially, we're using this variable ball count and setting it to 0 in the beginning because we're kind of, it's a machine. It is going to run out count. So we don't want this to be a forever machine. That's the reason we are using a ball count. Now, next, what it has to do that on the press of the start button, it will start popping out the balls. Let us look at the start button. Once we have set its position, basically what we are doing is on when the sprite clicked, we are broadcasting an event called start throwing balls. Let us look at the tennis ball code. When the ball receives start throwing balls, it sets a time interval between which it is going to throw the ball out. When you create variables for clones, make sure you create them for all sprites because each clone is considered a sprite in itself. So it is best to keep all variables as global. Now here, time gap is of 2 seconds. We want to throw the ball using a variable. So in the stop button, what we have done, we are just setting stop throw to 1. So we have created a variable stop throw. It is 0. And then it becomes 1. So the start and stop code is pretty simple. It's just setting these two variables, start throw and stop throw. And yes, you can use only one variable, but there's a reason why we are using two variables, and it's okay to start just with one variable. Now in this code, we are repeating until stop throw is 1. So till we have not asked it to stop, it should keep repeating this loop. So repeat until does the code inside it until it meets this condition. So what we're doing here, you're very familiar with this code now. You should be very familiar with this code if you've been doing the challenges from the first challenge onward. We have done multiple cloning projects by now. You use this control block, create clone of myself. We are keeping the ball count. So we change the ball count and we wait for a certain time. We don't want to wait for a fixed amount of time because we want the player to determine the speed. And that is the reason we have used a variable called time gap. Initially, we set a time gap to a fixed 2 seconds and we are waiting for 2 seconds before the next clone is created. Now we will look at the code. What happens when I start as a clone? So again, for safety purposes, we have this if condition, that is only when start throw is equal to 1, we should be starting as a clone. This is a redundant condition. So even before we are creating a clone, we are checking. And even when I start as a clone, we are checking this. Now, if it is equal to 1, we are initially showing it at the start here, at this place. And then it has to glide. Now, what we have done, we want it to glide. It's a good tested machine. So it should throw the ball to this opposite court where the player is going to be playing. Now, to do this, we obviously don't want it to go to any place. We don't want the ball to go to a random position. We want the ball to be in certain set, that is this rectangle. Now to identify this, what we have to do, we are setting the X position of the ball. So how to do that? You can just take the ball and let me show you how you will do this. So what you do, to identify the X position, you put the ball here where you want it to start from, and you put the ball here where you want till where it should happen. And those are the two X values you write here. So X is also always picked up between two of these values. You do the same thing with Y. So you want the ball to be anywhere between this and between this. So these are the two Y values you write here. So this will ensure that your ball is coming here. Now, once you attach motion to this, or you attach some more controls here, now once this code is done, we also want to say that once it is finished all the balls, it should kind of give some message. So for that, we have added a code, if ball count. So we have kept that ball count. So if ball count reaches 50, we are broadcasting a message saying that you should refill me and stop this script, because right now we cannot operate till this machine is refilled. And the code which we have, that is the create clone code, we have put it in the else block. So we have this code, and now we have added a if else code. Now this if else code is identifying if the ball count reaches 50, it broadcasts refill. And what happens? So now what we are saying here is, when I receive refill, it is saying refill me, and it is giving an instruction, click on me to refill, so that there is a user action only when you click on this. What do you want to do when you click on this? We want all the tennis balls to be cleared up from the code. We will use when the sprite clicked, and it will broadcast a message called clear ground. And because this basically means we are resetting everything, we are setting the ball count to 0, and we are setting start throw to 0. Because now after the machine is refilled, we want the player to again click on the start button. And what do we want to happen in clear ground? Very simple. We want to just delete the clones. We just want to receive the message clear ground and delete this clone. Now the moment we keep adding more buttons, we keep adding a little bit of complexity, because little more conditions get added. Now for instance, we have added this plus control, and here basically what we're doing is that we are reducing the speed. What we're doing here at this plus button is we are reducing the time gap. So basically the balls are coming at a faster rate. We don't want to make this minus. So make sure when you're doing math operations, always remember to put conditions. So here, only if time gap is 0, we want to change the time gap by 0.5. In the minus, if time gap is less than 5. So this is something you can decide how slow you want the game to become. If it is less than 5, then it will keep changing it by plus 0.5. And we don't really have to make any change in the ball for this, because right up front, we had already used this variable time gap. In the initial writing of the code, you did not use a variable and you hard coded this wait to 2 seconds. Then now you will introduce a variable and go ahead and do this. I look forward to seeing your tennis machines. Please give them a change in look and change in the way they move. Give some interesting player controls. Be creative and be a coder. Ta-da!